is a video on how to block rotate for any Minecraft server, okay? So if you're a Donut SP player, this will work. Okay, so there's a list of everything you need. There'll be a list on screen, probably, and then all the links will be in the description. My Discord server will also be in the description if you need more help on anything, okay? So first thing is, you need IntelliJ Community Edition, right? Download that. Next thing you need is the manual rotations, textures to numbers, right? And the zip, download.zip, okay? Next stuff is optional, okay? So it's not really needed, but you'll need it at any point in time. First thing is you need the texture rotation for the blocks. So here's a little explanation, right? You can take a picture of that or whatever, right? This will be in the description also, okay? Next part is you need this if you're on Donut SP. If you're playing Donut SP, this will help you out, right? Last but not least, your screenshot. And that is it for this one. Alright, so I'm going to show you how to install, how to set up your texture rotates, right? To rotate the play space. So first thing you do is you just click here, extract files here, and click a couple seconds. Then next thing you need to do is open IntelliJ. Should take a couple seconds to open up. Yeah. Now next thing you do is you grab your texture rotation master, drag it into IntelliJ, right? It'll open up like this. After that, click on load, finds it, close it, and just wait until this is done. It shouldn't take that long. It should take like 2 minutes, maybe, depending on how good the internet speed is. So after this is done, I'll speed up this up. Alright, it's done. So after you install it, head over to your nice RC on main, and main should be right here. So I'm going to show you how to get the rotations of each blocks and how to do them, right? So if we look at this image, right, we can see this little diagonal piece is pointing to the left, and this diagonal piece is pointing to the right, and there's number allocated to these pieces. So if you look at this, anything to the left would be a 0, anything to the right would be a 1. So 0, any direction you're looking at will always be 0, 1. Okay. So now let's do the floors, for example, okay? If we look at the floor could either be two different numbers, okay? So if we look at this little piece down here, textureless looking piece, if we look at here and match up, it could either be a 2 or a 0 and, to the direction you're looking at. So 2, 0, right? Same with this one here, which is either a 1 or a 3, right? So when you're block rotating a base or a screenshot, you gotta figure out what is gonna be your north, right? So this image is facing north, okay? So no matter what direction you're looking at, you need to figure out your north, okay? When doing the floor of deep slate, it's pretty easy to figure out which way is north, east, south, or west, right? If it's diagonal like this could either be a west or a east. And then if it's like horizontal, like going through it like this, right, it could either be a north or a south, right? Pretty straightforward. After you figure out what is going to be your northeast, southwest, right, you'll start rotating. You can start like figuring out the numbers for each block, right? Okay, so this is how you install the resource packs. That will help you if you're gonna block rotate a base. So let's do, before we import this, we actually need to do a couple things to forward the file, right? First thing you do is you head over to the stuff we downloaded from, down here, and extract files, the textures to number and the manual texture rotations into your resource pack. After that, open up your manual, right? Assets, Minecraft, block, dates, add a new JSON file called pink glazed terracotta. Open that up. After you do that, just import this in, right? Then after you've done that, go to your resource packs again, textures, assets, and then block states, right? Add your pink glazed terracotta, and it should look like something like this, what you put inside the .json file, right? After you've done that, you just put that in, click done, wait a couple seconds, and that should be it, you know? So if we were to go back to this one, we can see, like we said, this is north, south, right? We can look at this one, this would be a 0, which is correct, 1, correct, 2, correct, and 3 is correct, right? Yeah, double checking, right? And then if we switch to packs and we switch the other one on, we can see that it's 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so when you're block rotating now and you want to get the location of these, where this coordinates is, like where the location of this is, we gotta know a couple things before we start building this in our single player world. We gotta know what direction the player is looking, okay? So what direction is north? We need to figure out what direction is north in this screenshot, okay? There's many ways of telling, right? The main one is telling if they have like up here, you know, like if they're using Feather Client, it says what direction they're looking, you know, something like that. If they have a compass on them, you can clearly tell which way is northeast, southwest from the compass. Sorry. If you guys don't know what direction they're looking at, what you have to do is, I'm pretty sure there's a way to get the direction of where the player is looking with the blocks, but I'm not sure how to do it or explain how to do it if I do know how to do it. So I'm just going to explain like this. So I know which way it is. So this wall is going to be north and this wall is going to be east, right? You can see from the ground down here, right? It could either be north, right? Technically, this could either be south or north, or this could be west or east, right? But I know what it is, so this is going to be north and this is going to be east, right? So in game, gotta figure out which way north and east. So this is north, this is east, right? So what we do is we're gonna mark out an area. So I'm gonna put that as my starting block, right? Then I'm gonna build 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? 10 across, which is matching up with these, right? So this is 10 down here, right? Then we're gonna put in the blocks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. -1, and then got the top like, and we have that. We have this like that, right? And I'm gonna show you how to do the bottom, right? The bottom of the screenshot. I'm not gonna do the entire top half because I'm not gonna stay here for the next 4 hours trying to do this, right? Let's do 3 blocks tall, and then the flooring. Okay. So after you have made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. So that's right. So if, let's just say after we got all the info and we put it into our code, right, and we run it and no location pops up, try, or location pops up but different coordinates pop up and it's not the coordinates that you want, right? Like you went to this coordinate, there was nothing there. Try building this in the other direction, you know? So instead of building it northeast, this is north, this is east, try building it from south west, you know, southwest. Try building it southwest, you know, instead of northeast, right? So if we actually open up F3 for real quick, you can see I'm looking north, east, south, west, right? If we do this step and we put through our program and it does not output the by chords and you went to those chords, try building it the opposite direction. And there's also a chance that you will mess up while you know, find the rotations of the block. So what we do is actually we just need the texture rotation. So you just, you know, how we did earlier, right? So we get here, and you have this, right? And then we just have to look at the block, figure out what rotation is for each, right? I've already done this, right? So how would it look? How would it work, right? Is you would get your debug stack, right? So you do /give Chanel debug stack, right? Do that, and you get the slow debug stack, right? You have your pink glazed terracotta, and you click on it to rotate to get the rotations, right? So after you do all, like, you copy of all this the data from this screenshot and here, right, into this image, right? The floor, if you're doing like this, the floor actually takes a bit of time because you gotta figure out what is that, you know. So that's actually this one here, same thing, like that, and it takes a while, right? So, and just make sure you double check everything, because we don't want you to, like, you know, this part takes a bit of time, right? So I'm gonna just copy and paste data that I've already made in the past, so you can see me do that. I'm just gonna, I'm either gonna time lapse this part, or we're just gonna sit through this, probably a timestamp of where done. Right, so anything that is a 3, right, like I said, anything that is a 3 would be registered as a 1, and everything that would be a 2 registered at a 0, you know? Like, for a wall, there could only be 0 and 1, so if you have 2, it's gonna be a 0, if you have 3, it's gonna be a 1, okay? So, right, the floor was, what was the floor? 1, 0, right? So after you rotated your screenshot, right? And you input everything in. So if we actually go back into our resource packs and we turn off the numbers, right? You can actually see that if we look at this, it's the exact same for each block, right? Same with the floor, the exact same, right? So usually, I think when I did this, right, because I had to do it twice because I messed up during the video, I think it took me around like 10 minutes to do this. So, well, 10 to 20 minutes, right? Because I did mess up a couple times. So after you do that, right, get to this point, right? So I'm gonna, right, so after you have gotten all the rotations for the blocks, go back to resource packs and import this, right? Now we gotta import it into like a little what do they call it? Like a coordinates from the original. Okay, so pretty much you have to do this, right? So how this works, it's pretty straightforward, where we will need, so if we actually back link, right, copy this, right? How this works is it's pretty much just a simple, like no, I'll not explain it. It's like it, you see, okay? So you can either do this manual or automatic, right? I'm just gonna do this automatic, because I made a little script for this part. You can find the script in my Discord server. I'll post it somewhere, or I probably won't post it. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with it. I'm probably gonna update it and then post it, right? The first thing you do is you look at, so this is gonna be the original block, right? Like it said on the GitHub. So right here, find the first three numbers of relevant coordinates to original block in game that you've picked. I'm gonna pick this white block, right? That I have changed, right? This white block. So I'm gonna type in /get rotations and then the coordinates of this block, right? Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at this top block and get the location of this top one. Go all the way down to this bottom block, which is this. Technically, we can go here if you want. So I'm gonna go all the way here. We're gonna copy that, right? What happens is it will create a file, how a file gets created right here. Now, since this is set to false, we actually need to set this to true, right? So this actually imports all our numbers in the right format that we need and the rotations of everything, right? So we have to change all this too, so we change all the curving, true, right? The reason why we do this is because this is a side block, right? So if we open up IntelliJ, we can see that if it's a side, it needs to be a true. If it's like a floor block like this, it will need to be false, right? We can also check and check on the GitHub, right? It says down here, if the body is set to false, there could only possibly two rotation, not rotation, blah blah blah, right? So that pretty much says false, the floor, and then true if it's you know, a wall. So after we do that, we set that true. Now we gotta do the floor, right? So let's go over here. Now we're gonna copy this and use the same command, and this first block is the block back in here. I think it's a white, what is it? White concrete, right? Then we get this set of coordinates for this block, number 1, and we get this set, right? Copy that and paste that. Now we have these two. After you get those done, right? After you get all the coordinates of where it's at, I'll show you what you do next in 1 second. Alright, so after you've collected all the data, right, and you have it, right, saved, you're just going to copy all of it, right, copy all of the data, and you're going to head over to your texture finder. You're going to put it in your texture finder, right, that. After you do that, right, you're going to head over to your main, right, and you see this, right, you see this, and like you try to figure out what the hell it is, right. So the first thing you do is, so if you are don't estimate player, I'm gonna tell you what you could do here, right? You're gonna head over to Meeps map W guide, and you're gonna look at where the base is, you know. So if you explain it. So if you're on Donut, right, and you wanna, there's a base in Oceania, and this is the screenshot you took. It was from a base in Oceania. What you do is you look for the X, right, which is find minimum X. The minimum X would be this number right here. So it'd be 175,000, right, and then the maximum would be 75,000. And then for the minimum then the minimum Z, minimum Z would be 75,000, and then the maximum would be minus 25,000, right? 25,000, right? So pretty much that's how you put it in. Now the height is how high from like where it's gonna search. Well, I know it's gonna be between minus 60, right, and minus, I'm just gonna minus 10, right? In reality, it's probably gonna be like negative 10. I'm just gonna put that as a number. Now threads, how many threads you can use, okay? So threads is how fast do you want it to be. The more threads you use, the faster it is. The smaller threads you use, the lower threads you use, the slower it would take, okay? So I recommend a sweet number is probably around 5, right? Like I use 5, okay, for running on my main PC. But if I'm running on my VPS, I'm putting that up to like 60 threads, okay? If I'm, so since I'm running this on my PC, I'm just gonna leave it as 5, right? But I know it wouldn't take that long, so I'm just gonna put it to 1. So after you do that, right, you're gonna select the texture, which is, says right here what it is, right? Click. Yeah. So after you selected location, boom, 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 right? What you do is you can run the code now, right? And you click this little plus button to run the code. I'm too lazy to run it, like to run it with his with all this little. I'm gonna limit it to 1,000 by positive 1000 on both, right? Do that real quick. So this is the range I want to search between, okay? Remember, after you put all the data here and in your main and everything is correct, click on this little plus, right? And it should go seconds, should pop up with some coordinates. Oh, there we go. It's found one location, right, at these coordinates, right? So now we go into our world, right? And we head over to your single player. Go here, right? I'm already at the coordinates, right? But this is the coordinates that will pop up. So if we click on F3, right, we can see my coordinates are 100 minus 50, and then 180. Sorry. And if we look at these coordinates that popped up in our IntelliJ, we can see that the numbers are here, which is pretty similar to where we are at. 100, 2, blah, blah, and pretty much we are rotating this wall right here. And that's pretty much how you block rotate. Right, so pretty much it actually. Just remember, the more data you are scanning, right, the more location will pop. Like, so minimum amount of blocks, I would say, is probably around 30 blocks. You need around 30 blocks to block rotate a base. If you don't have 30 blocks, it's gonna get a bit tricky, okay, because thousands of coordinates are gonna pop up, right? I'm only doing a small range, 1000 by 1000, right? So not many popped up, but if you're doing like a big range of places, right, the amount that I gave you, right, including the floor, wouldn't, it could or could not, be enough. So that's pretty much it. I hope this one helped, because I'm pretty sure the other one helped a small bit of you guys, but I think this one helped you a lot more than my other ones. Okay, thanks for watching this one.